Let's explore how duality-oriented confusion could complicate voting. This morning's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. So, the individual began with a compelling title. Topical question, should I, as a Buddhist, vote? And then they elaborated. This may be a silly question. I feel like I ask a lot of those here. And everything I've read pretty much says yes. But isn't voting basically judging people? Let's stop right there. So, this may be a silly question. Ask silly questions. They will tell you a lot about that which is important to you, and they will also tell you about those who you are asking. If people respond to your silly question with cruelty and superstition and rigidity, wish them well and find better people to hang out with. People who are more flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Now you might say, is judging wrong? Well, when we read the teachings attributed to the Buddha, he said, on one hand, that the totality of the path was our spiritual friendships. But then in another time, he said that it's better to walk the path alone than in the company of a fool. So how is one to know whether someone is a fool or not without being judgmental and creepy and arrogant and cruel? Simple. It all comes down to the Buddha's Eightfold Path. The seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path are mindfulness and meditation. When they are practiced incorrectly, when they are mistaken for concentration, active concentration, and active analysis, we wind up overusing and abusing our poor prefrontal cortex, and all that does is multiply our anxiety and aggression, which is a disaster. But if we're fortunate enough to receive good instruction, and we learn how to practice true mindfulness and meditation passively, vulnerably, viscerally, and randomly, relying upon the part of our central nervous system known as our autonomic nervous system, then an amazing thing happens. We become instead of our fearful and anxious and aggressive amygdala lighting up, instead of that, this thing lights up. This thing that kind of looks like a catcher's mitt. This thing that the big kids call the anterior cingulate gyrus. This thing that functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, compassion, and love. This is why the greatest Dzogchen lamas have insisted that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. So here's the really, really cool thing. The more that our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, not scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity, the more our lives become blissful. The more things are revealed to us. The more we effortlessly see with the great clarity of a bodhisattva, of a Buddha. And so without relying upon the hyper, over, analytical functions or organelles of our brain, informed by the centers of fear and aggression, by simply flowing with centered spontaneity from our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, we're able to remember that Buddha nature, Tathagata is simply a delightful metaphor for our reliance upon the mindfulness, meditation, and empathy made possible by our sympathetic nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system, and our anterior cingulate gyrus. By flowing from empathy, mindfulness, and meditation, we're able to be wise without being judgmental. Now let's continue to your fine question. Now, let's talk about duality. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but not in the fun, tingly way. And so we should not be surprised when the majority of humanity identifies with being yang, or being patriarchal, or being kind of like Gautama's wicked cousin, Devadatta. And so these people cannot help but be rigid, fearful, suspicious, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And these people are going to take everything literally because of their rigidity. However, if we have meditated, practiced mindfulness and meditation in harmony with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, we will find ourselves more and more flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And consequently, we will be able to recognize that not all phrases are literal, that many are figurative, and we will come to see that the duality teachings were always ever meant to be figurative. The Buddha did not want us to get seriously confused about whether to drink water or urine. The Buddha did not want us to be honestly confused about whether to eat an apple or a piece of stale ox dung. As we sit in meditation, as we relax in harmony with our exhalation, whatever choices we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if they were both less than graspable. That is the non-duality the Buddha taught. So we have scriptural evidence that the Buddha taught to recognize that some people are rigid and some are flexible, to recognize that some are fearful and some are loving, to recognize that some are controlling and others are laid back. And based on those observations, to non-hatefully, to non-pridefully make decisions. But let us explore this from a different tack. All three schools of Buddhism agree on the validity of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. With our votes, we get to choose the kindest option that could benefit the greatest number of people. Does that negate the fact that most governments are corrupt? No. Does that negate the fact that here in the United States of America, the government is very corrupt and has become a farce, a theater of democracy? No. We still get to choose empathy. We get to choose kindness. We get to choose wisdom. Just because some man stands knee-high in a cesspool, demanding that we wrestle with him, doesn't mean we have to wrestle with him. We can sit on the sidelines and be loving and still vote the way we think is most compassionate and most kind for most people, most everywhere. We can disagree with people without hating them. We can choose people's opponents without hating them. May I give you an absurd example? Me and my tantric partner have different opinions about beets. I like beets raw, spiralized, and added to a vinaigrette dressing, salad with a vinaigrette dressing. She prefers beets quartered and roasted. So we disagree on the best way to enjoy beets. That doesn't mean we hate each other. That doesn't mean I wake up in the middle of the night to see her, placing a pillow over my face with which to smother me. That hardly happens at all. So people can disagree without hating each other, despite what the talking heads on television might say, who have their own motives and their own theater. Just thinking, and as always, I look forward to your responses. Now, I have to be honest with you. Not all so-called Buddhists are created equal. Some have different degrees of wisdom and kindness. How are we to know which advice to follow? Simple. Practice mindfulness and meditation in such a way that every day becomes easier and easier for you to surf the present moment with the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. So if you have not mastered this or formed a habit of this, this is your opportunity. You can begin gently. Practicing mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so for approximately 5 minutes. After a week of this, you can graduate up to 10 minutes. After a week of that, you can graduate to 15. I'm sure you've noticed a pattern. Sticking to this pattern, by the conclusion of the 15th week, not only will sitting for a 15-minute lesson and a 60-minute practice twice a day become easy for you, but you could have so mastered the Buddha's Eightfold Path that you will be realized. I do look forward to practicing with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. And now, together as a team, I think it could be great fun to play with the latest iteration of the easy meditation text based upon the final meditation manual of Dzal Paltrul Rinpoche. Sorry, Dzal Paltrul Rinpoche. I put the L in the wrong place. 1,000 pardons. Let's begin by reviewing the meaning of the mantra. Please chant with me. Om, I invoke the wish of handing money jewel that serves as a metaphor of love, and the pale lotus of purity serving as a metaphor of release, with whom I supplicate may love and release be mastered by all. Together as a team, let us meditate as let us bring Lama Kyano's figurative practice of calling the teacher as from afar into Energy Work's path of bliss and letting go. Please chant with me. Let us invite real or imagined Guru Avalokiteshvara to the crown of our head, that in the union of bliss and letting go we may train. So we're going to take all these words and squeeze them down into 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. So let us recite these words passively, silently, and mentally, in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. We're going to take these same 6 syllables and recite them during the inhalation. During the exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 6 syllables 8 times per breath. And yes, if this is your first go at it, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om mani me me yung, 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 om mani me me yung. So, as we mentioned during class, mindfulness is the 7th fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. It has evolved to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. It has also evolved to perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. That can seem overwhelming. How are we to deal with all those things we can notice? How about meditation, the 8th fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access our parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within both the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. And this bad boy has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Well, you might ask, if that's the case, then why do we need to sit down cross-legged and meditate? Because of the caprice of evolution, all the various organelles of our central nervous system sometimes step all over each other. But there's a simple remedy for this. When during our inhalation, we silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this, all of a sudden our brain begins cooperating with our sympathetic nervous system. And when during our exhalation, we silently, mentally, and passively recite the one-syllable verb ease, or the various organelles of our brain begin cooperating with our parasympathetic nervous system, helping us to release. And so the perception and release of mindfulness and meditation can be accessed by silently, mentally, and passively resting these words on our breath. Please practice with me now. Let us explore the outer set of preliminary practices from a certain point of view. Let's chant. Let us courageously exercise the vulnerability to notice other stress. Let the muscle of empathy we may train. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Instead of torturing ourselves with the fear of karma, may we view interdependence as the opportunity for our love to lighten the loads of others. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Rather than torment ourselves with the dread of death, may we view how impermanence makes of clinging and absurdity with the ones. Ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Instead of neurotically straining to make the most of each precious meditation opportunity, we could simply flow from mindfulness and meditation's generation of centered spontaneity. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we breathe in, while silently, mentally, and passively reciting the demonstrative pronoun this, we can kick back and watch the antics of our mind as it perceives, emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. As we exhale, while silently, mentally, and passively reciting the one-syllable verb ease, we can relax into mind's non-graspable nature. Let us turn now to the inner set of preliminary practices according to, adapted from the instructions of Zalpaltrul Rinpoche, found in the Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. Pardon me. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of ever. Hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. In our pragmatism may our liberation of all beings be fueled by our reliance on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students, described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. Rather than squander our time and energy in defensiveness, how much wiser could it be to learn all mistakes lessons that effortlessly flow from mindfulness and meditation-centered spontaneity? Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. A life squandered in vying and greed leads not to peace and fulfillment. Better to live in cooperation and generosity. At last and made this mind shoot out crowns. Cleansing, changing, increasing, and giving my stuff to all beings of nirvana and samsara. Money me me yung 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 money me me yung. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let us bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness. On second thought, let's go over here. Let us view release through a physiological lens as we bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness into the ultimate path of love and release, where it is release that is emphasized. Now, I must do a quick edit. Please bear with me. Please chant with me. As we inhale, we can notice all mind's perceptions, emotions, and tensions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings quite clearly. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable or void as a real or imagined bija seed syllable of light. And we're going to take all those words and squish them down to just 8 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Om mani mimi yung 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 om mani mimi yung. Whoops, that was weird. As we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, our speech could sound quite resounding. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable or void as a real or imagined mantra of light. Om mani mimi yung om mani mimi yung money me me 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 yung. As we inhale, our bodies or forms could feel quite sensual. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel it as not graspable or what is a real or imagined octopoiedom of light. Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung. As we inhale, our circumstances or lots could appear quite vivid. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel it as not graspable or what is a real or imagined paradise or body of light. Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung Om mani me me yung mani me me yung. So what I'm going to do real quick is photograph the page number so I might be able to come, so to assist me in returning to it if I choose to at a later time. Let's see. Well, that's lame. So let's go back over here. Having sat for the last 75 minutes or so, you might find it refreshing to join me for 7 or so repetitions of Tibetan-style Buddha bowing, which can be delightfully calisthenic. May we bring home through the 3 jewels. May we bring home through the 3 jewels. May we free on 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 through the 3 jewels. Let us seal this morning's practice by percussively chanting loving wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. May all minds of all beings lucid yet void now be as enlightened as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable bija. May all speech of all beings resounding yet void now be as loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by a multi-syllable mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet void now be as healthy as a Yidam archetype depicted in Buddhist statuary. May all lots of all beings appearing yet void now be as fortunate as a pure land of law depicted in Buddhist paintings. May every meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings and practice master as well as teach them generously, lovingly, and wisely in the manner of centered spontaneity. May all these meditation teachers spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And may many Dharma centers likewise be successfully planted, nurtured, and supported. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.